In your family, what is the ideology of your family? Is it that your family takes education as very, very important? Is it entrepreneurship? Is it money? Is it status? What is the ideology of your family? Is it priesthood? You do not know. Why? Because majority of our families do not have ideology. In Nigeria, majority lacks ideology. Hello everyone, welcome again to POK Experience. How are you all doing? This is another episode and I promise you it's going to be fantastic. And I'm talking about something very important. We should start with a question. What is the ideology of your family? Talk to me. What is the ideology of your family? If you observe in the US, they have the Republican and the Democrat, right? Which they normally call liberals or conservative. And if you're a liberal, you most likely go with things that align more with maybe a socialist structure of governance. Things like the right for everybody to be maybe employed, they advocate more for the rights of maybe immigrants. You also most likely advocate for abortion. As a Republican or conservative, you most likely do not align with these values. So they have that. But this particular episode came to my head because I was actually asking myself that in Nigeria, we do not have that kind of system. We most likely have two popular political parties, namely APC and PDP in Nigeria. So if I ask you, for example, what is the ideology of APC? What does APC stand for? What is the ideology of PDP? It doesn't exist, and that is why it is easy for politicians in Nigeria to cross carpet. They most likely just move from APC to PDP and then there's nothing. Because they don't stand for anything, so to speak, as a political party. Their political party does not stand for anything. Despite the fact that they have mission, they have vision, and they have these things that they write on their on their website. They have slogan, they have things. They don't stand by those things. If they do, it should not be very seamless for them to cross carpet and move between both parties. And I ask why? Why do we have this thing? This goes back to the first institution, the first democratic institution, which is the marriage. Marriage is the closest unit of democracy that you can think about. Whatever type of governance that is run in the family will most likely translate to how the unit of that family would relate with people outside. If you observe, if you come from a family that has a tyrannical father, it most likely show in the way the kids, the wife will relate with people socially outside. And if you do not, if you come from a very loving family where everybody has a voice, where things are more democratic and people could say what they think and not get beheaded for it, you also get to see the impact in the life of the kids. So I believe the whole thing happening in Nigeria, for example, with APC and PDP, comes from the fact that as a family unit, majority of family in Nigeria do not have an ideology. They don't. And lack of this ideology leads to the poverty that is actually ravaging Nigeria. Yes, 100%. I agree that the leaders that are leading Nigeria, the politician leading Nigeria, are the people putting us in this artificially made poverty. I agree with that. But I'm not talking about the larger scale. I'm talking about the family itself, you in particular. So, because if you do not have ideology at the family level, it means we cannot have ideology at the governance level, at the school level, at the university level, even in our social gathering. It means we don't have an ideology, and it leads to the fact that collectively we don't have we don't have something that we agree with to be wrong. So, and that is why it is easily for us to maybe have a druggie or anybody leading maybe a small party or anything. It is likely for a thief to come back from anywhere and become maybe say a senator or a kidnapper doing something. You get to see kidnappers on TikTok trying to do giveaway, and people will drop their account number wanting the money, the proceed the money that came from kidnapping, you want to be a partaker in that. So this particular thing that is happening in Nigeria, it shows that we do not collectively come together and have an ideology that this thing is wrong. We don't have that, and this is because there is no ideology. We do not have an ideology. Yes, and that is why there is nothing wrong. So not having an ideology, you can see that it has led to a lot of things happening in the country and our individual lives. But I don't want to talk about Nigeria as a country in itself. I want to talk to you as a person, because that's what actually came to my head. What is the ideology of your family? Let's start with, because if you want to fix this country as a whole, you have to go back to the fact that we need to fix the individual. But what is the ideology of your family? I can tell you that majority of families do not have an ideology. Yeah, if you don't understand what I'm trying to say, I'll take you back to the Bible. The story of I'm trying to remember the name of these guys right now. But the story of in Jeremiah, I know that the story is in Jeremiah 35. Jeremiah 35. Yes, I remember when I think I read it in church some days ago. Jeremiah 35. If you read that story very well, where these guys were offered drink, and they explained to the person that offered them drink that, look, I cannot take this wine because in our family we do not take wine. Our grandfathers have told us not to take wine. Our father told us not to take wine. Again, it is the ideology of that particular family. I don't remember the name right now. But so that's one of the things about POK experience. That's one of the things about my podcast. I do not write scripts down. I just pick an idea and I try to explore it from my own perspective and I put it out there. So pardon me for not remembering the name. So they don't drink alcohol. Why? Because that is the ideology of that particular family. That is their ideology. In your family, what is the ideology of your family? Is it that your family takes education as very, very important? Is it entrepreneurship? Is it money? Is it status? What is the ideology of your family? Is it priesthood? You do not know. Why? Because majority of our families do not have ideology. In Nigeria, majority lacks ideology. They lacks what they hold on to collectively as a family. And you can see it playing out in the way people behave. That is why you can see in the family we have somebody who is a first class student, and then there's nobody that is taking up in that same path with that person. Why? Because it has not been set in stone as the ideology of the family. Yes. So again, you might not get this as in your own present family right now, but the purpose of this podcast is to let you understand that, look, if you do not have an ideology from the family you came from, it is expected of you, it is important, and it is mandatory for you to actually build an ideology, to actually build a particular culture for the family you are going to build. Especially as a man, it is imperative that you do this. You are conscious of this, that what is the ideology I'm about to build for this family unit I am leading. As a man, you have to consciously do it. You have to be intentional about it. You see that there's some family that practice maybe delayed gratification. Let me ask you this question. What did you learn about money from your father? What do you learn about money from your mother? What is the stand of your family when it comes to money? You observe that there are some family that they don't live large despite being rich. The ideology in the family says that we are going to make enough money, a lot of money, but we will delay gratification and live a simple life. You will see that that's the way their grandfather lived, their father, their mother, their grandmother, and then the kids are living the same life. They wear simple clothes, they dress simple, but of course, they are making a lot of money. So I'm asking you, for example, what did you learn about money from your father? What did you learn? Again, you cannot say you don't learn anything. That is where some people get it wrong. They will say, hey, my father did not teach me anything about money. Your father subconsciously, indirectly taught you a lot of things about money. Observe the way you approach money and see that it directly aligns with the way your dad and your mom handled money. If you are a lavish spender who spend anyhow, you will observe that you most likely pick it up from the way your family spend money. If you're somebody that save, you most likely observe it from that you picked it up from your mother. If you're somebody that lives from paycheck to paycheck, you observe that that's the same method of living that your dad, your mom, and your parents were living on. That's the same ideology. So you cannot say you didn't learn anything from your parents, or you didn't pick up any ideology. You picked up because in that ways, either directly or indirectly, we are passing down a particular ideology in our family. Either you like it or not, you are passing down a particular ideology in your family. So you are better put a lot of effort into crafting what this ideology would be, so that you will not regret in the nearest future. One of the things I actually wanted to talk about is the fact that many people always assume that God uses people irrespective of who you are. Yes, but one of the things I observed that a lot of people that God used, they were very, very, very competent. I kind of delve into the story of Joseph, and I observed that while Joseph was in the house of Potiphar, he would most likely have picked up a lot of learning on how to plan. Right? He would when he was leading the prison, he would most likely pick up a lot of learning on how to plan and how to structure things and how to save, which is what he did during the famine, and then he was able to have enough. So I'm not saying I'm trying to buttress the point that indirectly there's nothing you are doing currently that will not tell, that is not shaping how you think and how you approach life in its entirety. So take for instance, you go to school, and when you get to school as a person, you do not care if you will graduate with a first class or not. Why you do not care is because it has not been established in your family that there is a minimum standard of academics. There is no established standard, established ideology of education in your family. There's a particular family that they spoke about that got scholarship into Oxford. All of the kids that came from that family, they were all given scholarship into Oxford. Not at the same time. I mean, as they got to the college age, they got this scholarship. Why? Why do you think so? Why do you think so? Why do you think a particular, so some people will say, oh, that family is blessed. No, that family has been able to establish a particular ideology that, look, in our family, we get bachelor's degree, we get masters, we move to PhD level, and if we can, we go to the professorship level. That's how you see some family where the wife is a professor and the husband is a professor. The kid will most likely go in that path. That is why we have this Unwa boys system in the Igbo land that is very, very, very much working, and is giving them a lot of money and revenue. Yes, it's making them prosperous as a people. It's making them prosperous as a people. So you do not want to assume that ideology does not exist. You will see a young Igbo boy by age 7. He will be put in care of his master, and he will start learning the ropes. And before you know, he will learn the business. He will graduate. He will be settled, and then he will start his own life. But you most likely know that the way he learned the business, his way of doing business, will most likely be very, very similar to the way his master did business. It will be very, very similar, because there's an ideology that is being passed down. That is why you see that majority of Igbo boys are entrepreneurs. They are businessmen. That is the ideology of that particular culture. They are business oriented. It has been shaped ever since, and it's being passed down from generation to generation. Yes, these days we have a lot of Igbo guys that are academias and administrative people, yes, but majority of them still comes back to that particular thing called trade. So some families have been able to establish that in this family we delay gratification and we live below our means. And by establishing this, they'll subconsciously pass this into the kids, and the kids will pass it onto their own kids as well. So there's an economic the ideology of your family is the economic engine. It is what determines the economic reality of a particular family. If you go and look at majority of the family that are poor, you will see that the ideology is what is wrong, which is the mindset. Many a time I've used to be somebody that criticize motivational speaker that talks about, hey, if you're a poor person, it is the mindset. Yes, I agree. I'm not saying everybody that is poor is because of their mindset, but you will see that majority, they have a problem with how their mind works. Majority of them has this ideology of hating rich people, of hating successful people, of downplaying the effort of successful people and saying things like, hey, this guy was just successful because his father was rich. This guy is successful because he had more opportunity. They try to downplay the effort of those people. Your parents has this ideology of not appreciating things that people do. You most likely pick that ideology up as well, and you are already running on it. You need to check yourself. It is affecting your economic reality. You have this ideology of hatred. You have this ideology of laziness. You have this ideology that, hey, whatever we eat, God will provide. Because that is exactly what you hear your mom say over and over again. And you're already playing on that same laziness. It will affect you. It will cause the economic engine of yourself and your family to not grow, to not work very well. The engine will get faulty. So you need to ask yourself, if I didn't pick up a very, very good ideology from my family, what am I going to pass down to the family I'm about to build? And it has to be spelled out. It has to be said clearly. It has to be reiterated. One of the things that Babajide said in African Workforce Summit that I attended, it's a conference that actually resonated with me, was his definition of work culture. And he said, what culture of a workplace is what you reward, is what you hire, is what you fire. Culture, the culture of your workplace is what you reward. That means the attitude of your workers that you are rewarding, the result of your workers that you are complimenting, that you are appreciating, that you are publicly rewarding. The attitude and the results that you frown against and you fire, and the competence level of the people you hire. This is what shapes the culture of your workplace. This is the culture. It is not the culture you wrote down in a book. Because culture is the way of life of people, right? That is the simple definition of culture. So you can say that the culture can evolve over and over, bending on the things that the society or the people now welcome. Before, you cannot be a thief or a fraudster in Yoruba land, and you will publicly acknowledge it. Why? Because Yorubas then frown against stealing, frown against being a thief or a fraudster. But these days, we have a lot of people that are into Yahoo, and they are publicly acknowledging it, or they are thieves. We are even voting thieves as our political leader. We have many of our politicians that have credit card stealing and theft cases in the US, and they are political leaders in Nigeria. It means we have finally accepted that as part of our culture. And that is why a lot of people will continue to do that. Look at how kidnapping is increasing every day. It's because we are rewarding it. So culture is what you reward, is what you hire and what you fire. Which is the same thing with ideology. What are the things you are frowning out at home in your family? What are those things you are frowning out? What are those things that you reward? What are those things that you compliment, you appreciate? What are those things that you try to replicate? Your wife does. General Peterson will say one of the best way to get people to do what you want is to actually show them that you love it and you appreciate it when they get it done. It's as simple as that. You want your wife as a man to do something. Whenever she does it, you need to tell her, hey love, I actually appreciate that. I love it. Why do you think parents always promise their kids that if you pass your exam, I'll buy you a bicycle? Why? They are trying to reiterate a culture that, look, academic excellence is a particular culture that we will appreciate in our family. But where they get it wrong is they do not finally appreciate it. They do not finally buy that bicycle. They do not finally buy the bicycle. And not buying the bicycle is fraud. It negates rewarding the culture. You don't have to overpromise. All you need to do is properly reward that particular attitude. That is how you build the ideology. By rewarding the right ideology. By frowning and punishing the wrong ideology. Being friends with the people that play on the same ideology level as you. And these are the ways to build the proper ideology in your family. That is the way. There's no other way about it. And it takes you being intentional. It starts from you as the head of the family. It starts from you as the wife. It starts from you as the leader of that team. For example, the companies I lead, the teams I manage, I subconsciously do not try to check everything. I'm a marketing lead in majority of the companies I engage with. But you cannot find me saying, hey, I want to check every emails before it goes out. Why? That is not a way to build competence in a marketing and in an email marketing manager. That is not a way to make them accountable, to make them take responsibility for whatever is going to happen with email marketing. They need to be in charge. They need to believe in the vision. They need to not, when they believe in the vision, it shows in the way they interact with the vision. And now they embrace quality. And now they embrace their duty. So it is not just, by screaming and shouting. No, you allow people imbibe. You allow people enjoy the process. So I hope you have been able to understand the fact that the family ideology is the economic engine of the family. There's an ideology in the family. Either you intentionally spell it out or you do not intentionally spell it out. There's an ideology in your marriage. Either you are saying it or not, there's a modus operandi. There's something that both of you have subconsciously agreed to. That's why you see some couples say, hey, we only have sex 6 times in a year. No, they did not. You did not come together and put handshake and say, hey, we only be having sex 6 times in a year. No, it just started happening and both of them subconsciously agreed that is the ideology of our marriage. We have 5 sex. You go check your family, you go check a lot of companies. Before you know, everybody behaves anyhow. There's error in the graphics. The social media manager does this. Everybody does this because nobody gets punished. There's no punishment for those kind of attitude. That is why we have KPIs every year and there. Because we want to establish that this is the particular standard where we would welcome in this particular organization, and everybody will align, everybody will move along it. And that's the beauty of ideology. Once people can catch the fire, they've caught the fire. There's nothing you want to do. They will continue, they will go ahead and build successful brands. They will go ahead and build successful businesses for themselves. I hope this has been able to help you. Again, I'm saying it. Some family, their own ideology is status game. Some family, it is being a fraudster. It is being a criminal. Somebody actually traced a family, and they said that that family has 70% of them, they are actually in jail. It is not because that family is caused. It's because that is the ideology that is indirectly being passed down from one person to another. Check yourself. There are a lot of things you are doing now that you picked up from your mom, that you picked up from your dad. If you don't intentionally delete those things, if they are wrong, you will find yourself repeating the exact same mistake that your father made that led him to where he is today. Yes. Before you know, you will just start doing those things. He's a smoker, you just start smoking. It's an addictive smoker. You will just find your way to being addicted to smoke as well. Then you start being slow. You start being inactive. So there's nothing you want to do about it, unless being intentional that, hey, what is the ideology of this family? There are things that my wife has been able to imbibe in me and teach me by not accepting that particular attitude from me. By saying, hey, I do not want this. Despite me, it's not just one. She'll just keep repeating it that this particular attitude, I do not want it. And I've been able to change. Same as me to her. So the culture, the ideology is what you decide to make it. And remember, it affects your economic level. Your income, the income level of the family is affected by the ideology of the family. What is the minimum level of education that you want to accept in your family? You need to spell it out. You need to be conscious about it. What is the minimum level? I mean, what is the minimum level? Is it masters? Is it PhD? That's fine. How about materialism? What is your family's goal about material things? What is it? What is your family's goal about material things? What does your family think about material things? You need to make a decision about that as well. So these are many other things you need to make a decision about. What is our competence level? Does your dad appreciate competence? Do you want to imbibe that in your kids as well? Like I always say, it is up to you to decide. I put out a tweet recently that the day I start believing things like, oh, my family is caused, blah, 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 that's the day my life starts changing, because I start blaming myself for every damn thing. If you can blame yourself for everything happening in your life, you will see a significant turnaround in your income, in your welfare, in your life, in your mental health as well. Because you stop holding witches that do not exist. You stop holding them, or wizards that do not exist. You stop having hatred for your auntie in the village. You stop blaming people unnecessarily for your misfortune. You start blaming yourself. You start doing better. You start working harder. You start planning better. You just spend money on you just see something and you have the money, you just buy it. My wife was showing me something recently where a woman bought a set of pot for 300,000 naira, and the husband was saying she has not used the pot for that time. And a lady was replying the post that, hey, yeah, that's just a woman thing. Yeah, the fact that we bought it always make us happy and have peace that we just bought it. That is the ideology passed down to her. It was passed down. Materialism. Just buy things because you can buy. You bought a pot and you put it there, you're not using it. Many of us, we grew up from that kind of family. We have our mom has bought some things and they hang it for 30 years and it's just there. the money that could have been used to buy real estate. I'm not going to say more than that. I hope this help you actually, and I'll see you some other time. Cheers.